Hello, I'm Christina Soontornvat, and I am the author of The Last Mapmaker, which I'm so excited is on the Bluebonnet list for this year. As a Texan, that makes me so happy. I have some great questions here that I will try to answer. So the very first question I have is, how much did you have to learn about sailing to write this book? So I did do a lot of research about sailing and about ships, and I probably learned way more. Like, whenever you're writing a book, you learn this much, and then this much is what actually goes into the book. So once I learned like all of the terms about actually sailing, I realized that if I put everything into the book, it would be like too complicated and it would take away from the story. So I actually made up my own names for things on a sailing ship to make it really simple. I just wanted you to get lost in the story and not have to wonder like, oh, what is a capstan, and which sail is which mast is which. So I simplified it a lot. So I learned a lot of stuff that didn't go into the book. Second question is, how did you come up with this story? Is it based on a legend or a myth, like A Wish in the Dark was based on Les Miserables? So no, The Last Mapmaker is not based on any previous book. How did I come up with the story? That's always such a hard question because I feel like, it takes me years to write a novel, and so it just comes through over that time. But the initial idea for the story was always going to be, it's a kid who is an apprentice to a map maker. And I have always loved maps. I'm always a person who, if there's a map in a book, I just stare at the map. I just love just the ideas that it gives you of like adventures you might have if you go to that place in the map. And actually, the very first time I wrote the book, the main character was a boy, and it was written in the third person. So it was completely different, a very different story. And it took me years to kind of, decide, okay, the main character, she needs to be a girl, because I wanted her to be a little bit more like me, and that I wanted to write it in first person because I wanted to get really close to her, and that I wanted to set it in a world that's inspired by Thailand, which is where my dad is from. So my dad was born and raised in Thailand, and just once I had those pieces, once I figured that out, the rest of the story came much more quickly. So it's not based on any one book, but definitely the Asian dragons, the Thai naga, which are water beasts. They're like dragons, like serpents. Those legends, stories about them, and images of them definitely influence the book. So the dragon in the book is, to me, she's a water dragon. She's a naga, a real life dragon. Okay, question number 3 is, how did you come up with the name of the book? So yeah, what did I call it? Oh, well, when it had a boy as the main character, the book was always called The Mapmaker's Boy. And I always knew that wasn't going to be the end title. So when finally the book was going to get published, because this book took like 6-7 years to finish and get published, I don't know how I came up with The Last Mapmaker. I just thought, okay, when you start off, you meet Master Payun. He's the map maker that Sai, the main character, works for, and you learn that he is the last of his kind. He's this very special, he has these old tools and techniques, and he's just a master of his craft, and so he is the last map maker. But as you read the story, maybe you think, well, maybe there's going to be another last map maker. Maybe it's somebody else. I won't spoil anything. I don't think that's a spoiler. So titles are hard, but it has a great ring, right? The Last Map Maker. It's good. It's a good title. Question number 4 is, are some of the characters based on people you've met? Well, I feel like Sai is very much like me. She's maybe the character that's the most like me that I've ever written. And then other characters, Master Payun, I had someone who was a mentor to me when I worked at a museum, a children's museum, and her name was Becky Jones. And so she was a little bit gruff, actually. She could be a little gruff like Master Payun, but such a great mentor. So caring, and like just really wanting to like steer you in the right direction. And she gave me so much great advice and just set me on a great path. So I would say that Master Payun is probably based on her. And then everybody else maybe a little bit here and there, but not so closely as those two characters. And question number 5, what advice would you give to our young authors and illustrators as they learn to improve their skills? Okay, that I get this question, and sometimes I'm like, I don't know how to write a book. So, there's a lot of things that you can do. I would say that, the one thing that I have learned that I was really surprised about in writing a book is that you sometimes have this image of an author as that, like, they sit down and they spend just like hours at their typewriter, and they're just going for hours, and then out comes this brilliant novel, and you have to have that much time if you're gonna write something. So I have been shocked that most of my books, I write them like 15-20 minutes at a time, because I'm very busy. I have 2 kids, I have a dog, I have like lots of other projects going on. So sometimes I only have like 15 minutes to work on my book in a morning, or 20 minutes, and then I have to go do something else and come back. And you would think, oh, that's not enough time, but you would be surprised. And actually, if you get a little bit of practice in every single day, even if you think, oh, I only have 15 minutes, like 15 minutes before bed, 15 minutes before school, 15 minutes after dinner, that's not enough time to really practice my writing. If you do just a short bit every day, you will be in such a great habit of writing that you will progress, you will get better faster than if you spent 15 hours and then didn't do it for a month. So that's my advice, is like, do just a little bit every single day if you can. Just try to squeeze it in, and you're gonna get better faster that way. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks, everybody. Bye.